Hey everybody, how you doing on this Tuesday? I hope your Christmas was a great one, and we have a new year and happy Hanukkah as well. Got to get this off my chest, folks, because it just really has me pissed off. 2 days ago, a publication called the Berkeley Scanner and its reporter, and as it turns out, founder or quote editor in chief, award winning veteran news reporter Emilie Raguso wrote an entire story about 20-year-old Reemajah Pollard that was a tearjerker. To summarize, Reemajah Pollard was a Berkeley High School student who grew up, as many black young men do, in a less than ideal family situation. With assistance from teachers and program leaders, Pollard was accepted at my grad school alma mater, University of California, Berkeley. Then, by either suicide or heart attack, as the reports go, the young man was found dead. What got me about Raguso's account was she wrote about his reported isolation, but did not even bother to explain how his being African American, let alone male, played a key role in his Cal experience. I talked about this in my first video blog on this subject, only to see some of the dumbest, coldest, and most idiotic comments I have ever seen in my life about any subject. Well, here's a taste. Quote, help me out. Why is his face important to the story? The scanner wrote. Someone actually wrote that. Okay? Someone actually wrote that. And I had a retort too, but I digress. Here's another. You don't think the photos speak for itself? Huh? What? Then I had someone who claims to be black, which is, I have a real pet peeve with people who write behind the keyboard and tell you what color they are if you can't see them talking to you in a video blog era. Okay? Don't do that. If you want to reveal your identity, vlog it. Let people see your face and know your name. Okay? That's the idea. All right? Anyway, this Sauce Castillo actually had the nerve to ask me why I should expect the Berkeley Scanner. We get this, to write about the problems black folks have at Cal. I mean, no black person actually wrote that. Okay? I'm not buying that this Sauce Castillo person is black. Yeah, I said it just like that. Okay? Just like that. Okay, Cal's track record having us, black folks, involved in anything is so bad that I was recruited to be on the Cal alumni board in 1998. Yeah, this problem goes that far back and further. And by a group of African American alums who had my column in the Montclarian at the time. So, as a black man who has grown up comfortable, if you will, in white shoes, in white circles, I have seen the problem of racism against us from a unique perspective that is less so today, fortunately, but not much. Today, the problem is that in the Oakland, California, and SF Bay Area region, a number of black folks can think they have white friends, but realize as they go on that they're not included when it matters the most, for good jobs and for important gatherings. It goes a long way to explaining why the Bay Area media itself is overwhelmingly white. It also goes a long way to explaining why the homeless population in Oakland, the East Bay, is overwhelmingly black. And that unbearable whiteness, if you will, has come to be reflected in the Berkeley Scanner's post on Reemajah Pollard. What is worse is many younger African Americans do nothing. I mean, absolutely nothing to fix the problem, or try to, and seem to me to be more content to just sort of go along to get along and gather crumbs. Yeah, I said it just like that. That dynamic is what dooms the very existence of Black media in Oakland and the San Francisco Bay Area. The desire to basically, if you will, leave it to white folks rather than build Black ran and owned media organizations. One can count on one hand, really two fingers. One can count the number of Black media companies focused in Oakland on one hand. Boom, two fingers. The Oakland Post and Zenny 62 Media. Boom. By contrast, the white media organizations focused on Oakland literally surround us and include TV stations and radio too. And that has to change. The only way to change it is addition. To me, it's clear that a white-owned and ran media organization just doesn't want to tell the Black story today. That wasn't always the case at all. We have a number of examples where that's not the case. Many of them path-breaking. But it doesn't seem to be true today. It's not true in history, no. But the fact is that if Blacks everywhere expect the Black story to be told, then we, us, you and I, must own the media that tells it. Okay. That's really vitally important. This young man passed away for reasons that are largely unknown. And the other motivation I brought to the table here is that the Berkeley Scanner didn't mention what Mr. Pollard was going through from a Black perspective, but other publications mention that Pollard's interest coming out of high school and going into college was, among other things, eliminating racial discrimination. What does that tell you but that, A, it was on his mind to do that sort of thing, and B, he had been impacted by it himself. If you know the Black experience, you know that's the case. If you know the Black experience, and you don't have to be Black to know the Black experience, you know that's the case. To not know the Black experience in America is to admit you don't know American culture. For a person to have a publication and then want to be called a journalist, I'm a blogger, I don't call myself a journalist, is heinous on her part. Okay? Because she approached it to me as a right-wing writer intent on erasing the idea the Black experience would write it. Yeah, I said it just like that. Right? It's this old saying, who does that, right? It's actually a new saying, but it's gotten old because so many people use it. Who does that? Apparently, there are people who think it's okay to do. And you start looking around society, you realize that little by little, we seem to be in some sort of silly, ridiculous, crazy blankety blank battle just for someone Black to say, hey, I've got a story too. It took the murder of George Floyd, done literally in our face, collectively, en masse, for the United States to realize it has a giant race problem and a giant race perception problem. The perception being that everything a Black man does in some way is bad and therefore deserves an overreaction. Okay? And so, post that realization, it seemed that we were on a great path toward a kind of reconciliation of storytelling. But with examples like the one the Berkeley Scanner presents, I say, nah, not so fast. We're not. Not so fast. We're not. You see, Ms. Raguso, apparently she lets you just slide past our collective noses, not even talking about the unbearable Blackness that is placed on the collective lap of Berkeley in situations like this, where it doesn't want to acknowledge its racism. It doesn't want to see its racism. And so, in little ways, it figures out how to carve out the story and not tell it until a person like me comes along and says, excuse me, hello, redo that. Miss Raguso knows she's wrong. She knows it. The people who write the questions know they're wrong. And the people who respond behind a veil are particularly wrong. It'd be a different thing if they said, hey, look, does anyone want to be on your live stream and talk about this where I can see their face and their name? And we can have an honest conversation. That's authentic. You cannot tell me that writing a comment behind a keyboard unseen is authentic. It is fake. How do I know that you're not a bot? Hey, we have people raving about chatbot, right? How do I know that the person writing that is not a bot? How do I know that's not a program? Real authenticity is showing your face and letting it rip. What has been presented by the people that are advocating, it would seem, what the Berkeley Scanner has done is anything but authentic. They hide because they know they're wrong. They don't want to be found out because they don't want to get fired. They have important positions and they do not want their racism exposed. But guess what? It's out there. It doesn't matter whether they reveal themselves or not. What they did is enough. And one day it will be exposed by someone out there. Because some one of these people will say the wrong thing to the wrong audience, and the match will have struck the wick of the dynamite, and it will explode. You hear what I'm saying? And no, I don't mean some sort of riot or anything. I'm talking about it'll explode in the form of somebody losing their job or position. It will be a revelation. We're headed that way in our region. That sort of comeuppance conversation is just sitting out there to be had. But it will be had if the Russian if it will be had if a number of parties continue to act with extreme racial insensitivity. A number, okay? Eric, how you doing? I'm fine. Any comments on this? Anyone? Bueller? That's just fine. I made my point. Subscribe to Zinni62 and bookmark oaklandnewsnowblog.com. That ends this broadcast.